What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome. I know you guys are excited. You guys always seem to be up for these kind of live streams where everything's kind of free for all and we're all out there. But today, first and foremost, apologies for the late start. I'm about 30 minutes late to my stream, so this is really not good. Setting any form of consistencies for my new stream viewers, but I also have a double whammy for you guys, double baddie here that we might end stream a bit early as well. So we shave a little in the front, shave a little in the rear end, and and in the end we somehow make it work. But what I can promise you is today we'll have a nice and heated discussion. Yes, notice I mentioned discussion, not debate, because at this point I can't really verify anything factual that people bring. I can only just take it in, be like, okay, cool. Now that I know that's a thing, maybe I can double check it in the future if I really wanted to use it in a video. Not like my videos are the most informed, like factual thing ever, but what I'm basically insinuating is in these live streams, anything goes. Your word is as good as my word is as good as his word is as good as Jabba's word. Where's Jabba? Jabba's word, and Jabba's word is as good as Hana's word back there on the cat tower, okay? Anything really goes. Feel free to share whatever opinion you may have. If you want everybody in chat to delete their account, start over, and all be Amber mains, Xinyan mains, say your piece, man. Like, if you can somehow convince all of us here to delete our accounts and restart being like Xinyan mains, you likely won in life, okay? I'm not gonna go any further than this to really hype us up anymore, but it's a Saturday for me, Sunday for some of you guys. Just take it easy, chill, relax. Remember, we're all here to have fun, and if you ever feel like you're getting a little in over yourself, just remember that this is a video game that we're talking about. Maybe that'll help you, kind of calm down a little bit. But I know when things get tough, not tough, when things get heated, it's difficult to stop and take a step back. But just keep that in the back of our minds before we try to rip each other a new one on the internet. Okay, let's start. Right here it says, it's here and now. It says, hey Walrus, if I give you my account info and card info, can you roll a Hytham for me, please? I'm currently grounded and I don't... Wait, let me read that again. Let me just read that again to make sure I'm reading that correctly. So if I give you my account info and card info, can you roll a Hytham? I'm currently grounded. Wait, how do you have a card then? Wait, I don't get it. If you're grounded and have your card, and you have the internet, like you have access to the internet right now, do grounds still work the same way I remember they do? I remember when I was grounded, I was in the basement eating leftovers off the floor, if that's any resemblance of what other people were going through. I had a walkie-talkie that was hung on the wall that I had 3 uses to if I wanted to use it. I had 3 uses. Beyond that, all right, I had everything I needed. I had a bed, I had a shower, I had a bathroom. I was fed 3 times a day. I'm kidding. We all know you don't get fed when you're grounded, because then that's not a ground now, is it? He's stealing his neighbor's internet and stole his mom's credit card. It's here now. So I know it's my card. I have a card account for things I want. I promise. Okay. If you load your account up with Primo Gems, then I'll do it for you. But I don't feel comfortable taking someone else's information, inserting them, and like swiping them. But if you can give me your account, and let's say here it says, I don't know, like whatever couple thousand primo gems, and maybe we can try to do something with that. But that's not going to be today. So yeah, unfortunately I can't because it's 2 days. So I don't think I can help you with that, because today we have to talk about the video. What did they say? Strike the iron when it's hot, right? When this topic is still fresh in everybody's mind, we can start talking about it. The first thing I want to address is something that a lot of people have been bringing up, which is the Abyss usage rate, which I also use slightly as reference. And people have continuously been updating me with new stats as well. In fact, I think it's best if we bring them on screen, some of them. It's always great. It's always great looking at these ooh, spicy. Don't worry, I'll be showing you guys. Of course. We go through this stuff together. I will not be hiding this from you guys. It is what it is. Okay, so let's do it like this, right? Chat. Is that clear for everybody? Clear? Everybody can see this? So this is basically like a add-on app in WeChat, which is like Chinese WhatsApp, if that makes any sense. It's loaded with a lot more like functions, in my opinion. Well, not my opinion, it's just hard fact. It's loaded with a lot more features than WeChat than WhatsApp is. So they have things like, you know, Genshin Little Helper, like Genshin Assistant. This is the second round of patch 3.4 Abyss, meaning this is the most up-to-date Abyss. It's updated until February 4th. Okay, so this was sent to me this morning, I believe. Yeah, this was sent to me this morning, and they have this chart where they're telling us so far the Abyss users. Now, immediately you guys would tell me, Walrus, this is inaccurate, right? Like nobody has the access to the Hoyoverse API anymore, so all this stuff is just guesstimation, right? Or people have to submit their team usage or whatever the hell how they're trying to do it. But yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be 100% accurate, but if you cross-reference this, is what I'm telling you, if you cross-reference this to other like Abyss information, you'll see that usually they're not too far off, and the most used characters on the top are usually going to be the ones that gravitate towards the top. The lower you get towards the tier list, like for example, Abyss usage will only affect mid-range units, meaning like characters in maybe A tier, B tier, and I'm assuming this is C tier. A, B, C tier or B and C tier likely have interchangeable units. Maybe B and A tier will have a couple interchangeable units, but you won't suddenly be like, oh, Nahida was actually C tier. You know, like it wouldn't happen. Like, oh yeah, like nobody used Bennett. They messed up. The stats are messed up. Bennett is C tier or Bennett is B tier. Hell, like I wouldn't even say Bennett can jump down to A tier. It's close, but yes, I understand there are discrepancies, but you guys can't make it sound like that characters like Zhongli, Raiden, you know, Al-Haytham are actually in C tier when right, like it's just not true. Okay? So, and on top of this oh yeah, this is a C tier for anybody who cared. I'm not too surprised with some of the characters in C tier. Most of them have upgrades, and their upgrades are actually being played, right? So in case in point, Noelle, in one way, her upgrade is Ito. Her Ito upgrade actually has a 14.6 usage rate. Stuff like, where's Hazo? Hazo has a 0.1, but then if you look at here, we have Scaramouche, Zhao. These are all like upgrades, in my opinion, to Hazo nowadays. Another one that actually is interesting, I actually made this mistake last time, is Faruzan. Faruzan has a 13.6% usage rate, but that usage, you see, when people say usage rate is not accurate to actual usage rate is, I'll show you guys. When Faruzan shows that she has a 13.6% usage rate, we also have to look at how many people owns this character, right? So that's what this is for. So for people who have been talking about Walrus, you gotta look at own rate. Like, so, what this says is number of ownerships. So 76,502 players who participated in this study. I don't know. In this database, I'll call it the database. This many people owned Nahida, and which gave her ownage rate. This is the ownage rate, the rate at which people own Nahida out of all the people who have her, right? So 83.1% of the people who participated in the database own Nahida. Ownership rate, yeah. And then this is the usage rate. So like when people look at it, why is the usage rate higher than the ownership rate? It could be a little confused. This is a usage rate. Usage rate means usage rate should be this number divided by this number, correct? This number divided by this number should be this number. I'm not going to do the math, but that should be what the usage rate is how many times did she appear versus how many people owned her. Right? So looking at this chart, we can get a good idea of what characters people have ownership of and is using it. So by this metric, you really want to avoid being a character that a lot of people owns, yet nobody uses, right? If very little people owns you and you have very little usage, it's not the end of the world. There could be a scenario where you're maybe more of a niche unit, or you're maybe just not that good of a unit, right? Or not that desirable of a unit, or a luxury unit. For example, I can imagine Shenhe. Where's Shenhe? Shenhe, right? So Shenhe only has 14,242 people owning her. She has a 22.4% usage rate. So even, okay, maybe that's not the best example. So even people who own her haven't used her very much, which is only 3,000. She only appeared 3,000 something times. When Ayaka here has a 31. Ayaka isn't looking too hot either, because if you guys look, 55,518 people own her. She's up here at 17,000. But if you think about it now, is freeze really a good time for an appearance? Maybe not necessarily so. So maybe this highlights the fact that maybe freeze just isn't as crazy right now. But she's still one of the higher use units. But of course, Yamiko with the whole Dendro meta obviously is used much more. Okay. I don't think I need to paint the picture here that Zhongli, when things starts falling apart, when the wheels starts falling off of your tricycle here, people tend to gravitate towards comfort. It's at this point, it's human nature, right? This is quite literally human nature. When you are struggling, right? You are struggling to keep your head above the water. You unknowingly try to reach out towards anything to grab a hold onto. And Papa Zhongli here is really just, yeah. He's a solid character. I was saying in my video that I'm actually curious how Zhongli's performing in the current Abyss. And as you guys can see here, he's performing extremely well. Once again, he's shot back up to top 5, in this case even top 3, with a 75% usage rate. Ownership rate is damn near 90%, right? Damn near 90%. So 82,000 people. So more people who participated in this database owned Zhongli than even Nahida. And although he didn't outperform Nahida, more people owned him, but less people used him than they use Nahida, which also highlights just how insane Nahida currently is in terms of Spiral Abyss usage rate. Very cracked character. I anticipate it's going to stay like this for a little while. So for people who have her, congratulations. For people who are looking to pull her, I wish you the best of luck. Of course, the 3 Archons are kind of topping the charts here, but Kazuha comes in here pretty clutch as well. 57,650 usage rate for Kazuha. So remember, these charts are not the end all be all for information, right? Like, yes, it's good to refer to them like sparingly to get a general feel for character performance and usage. Like everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people were pointing out in the video that, you know, you shouldn't solely rely on Abyss usage rate. They're not fully accurate and dependable. But are you really going to sit there and tell me with a straight face saying, oh, Nahida's not worth it, no, Zhongli's not worth it, nah, Raiden's not worth it, nah, Kazuha, no, Kokomi, not worth it, Yelan, nah, Alhaitham, trash, no, Ayaka, pff, overrated, Yaimiko, garbage, Tartaglia, doo-doo, Nilu, pff, DPS wannabe, but actually dancer. You're not gonna sit and tell me that. That's just a flat out lie. All these characters up here on the list are valuable characters. These are characters many people want and have invested into, and it's disingenuous to say that, you know, this is a lie, right? Or this is unreliable. If this is unreliable, then what we're like, okay, then let's go down the list. Like, is this more reliable? Oh, is this secretly the top 10 list of Abyss and somehow the numbers just got jumbled? Is Ganyu actually supposed to be like where Tartaglia is and stuff like that? I don't quite think so, right? I think there's, like, even if we can't get full access to Hoyoverse's database, there's plenty of ways to, I guess, extort data from them that, and also it's consistent enough to lead me to believe that it's fairly accurate, right? Nobody's saying this. Vacancy rate is a better measure. I don't think so, because ownership rate is already an indication that many people have them, and ownership rate can tell us when a character is being underutilized while a lot of people owns them. Case in point being Venti. I love bringing this up every opportunity that I have. I love watching people try to squirm their way out of this one. 52,386 people have Venti. 52K, right? Like, it's borderlining Kaching's ownership rate. Like, even Ganyu, which a lot of people like to doo-doo on, 49,984. Ganyu has less ownership rate, and she's almost double, not really, but she's like 75% more usage rate than Venti. Venti sitting at 9.6% is criminal. This is criminal. Like, out of all the relevant units, this unit ranks like, even more people are using the... How does the Traveler nowadays outperform Venti? Can somebody... the lowest usage rate, like, out of the meta characters, like, these characters are considered, like, to most people, they would be considered, like, meta, right? How? Like, how does the Anemo Archon fall this low? Like, you just can't argue against this. Like, there's no argument against this. Like, there's no amount of copium can save you from this abysmal stat line. And it wasn't like it's any better 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Abyss patches ago. Okay, maybe like I remember there was one where they included a lot of smaller mobs. That, like, they always do it when Venti's rerunning just to bait people. It sickens me that people will pull for him just to use him for that one Abyss. So, like, anybody who has any idea what they're doing for their account likely would not pull for Venti, even for the Abyss that he's currently running. It's criminal how far he's fallen. I don't think Varcon should ever fall below like 30-40%. uses rate in most abysses. I think at this point they really should have just swapped Venti and Kazuha's kit. They really should have just swapped it. Kazuha should have been the Venti, and the Anemo Archon should have gotten the Kazuha treatment. But it was not meant to be, right? Looking at some other characters, like I refer to these charts, I refer to EN charts, I refer to Reddit charts, and after I cross-reference all of them, I then can make a decision, and across all of them, you guys will find similar trends. So these lists are accurate and using, well, not accurate to the T, but like accurate enough that we can draw conclusions from them and give advice based off of them. Okay. So Calvin GEA says this Abyss favor Dendro so much. Yep, Dendro and what was it? Electro, right? They have Dendro and Electro shred. Techvarus also said 1010's video debunked usage rate as being a good measure. It favors less owned units. I can see why. Although I'll come clean, I've never watched the video, but I can see why you would say that as well. Like there's a point to be made for both sides, right? But once you get to see how many people own it, and also the ownage percentage, and then the usage rate, it becomes very clear. It becomes clear enough that you don't need the other stats to point you towards the answer. I think anybody who is given this stat line and then looking at the characters themselves, they can figure it out. But like it's spelled out plain as day here. Like if I can chart it on a graph for you guys, likely it'll be more clear. And you'll see the outlier. And I'm telling you right now, Venti is going to be one of he's going to stick out like a Thor's thumb on these charts because so many people have him. He is technically the oldest unit in the game. He was the first banner, and not a lot of people want him, meaning that people stopped summoning for him. The craze for him is over. Zhongli has 82,000. Right, 80,000 for Radit, and you can't even make an argument to say that, oh, but Venti is like, not, he hasn't had a rerun. Yeah, but Nahida only had one banner, and that's her banner, and there's people like 76k. And also understand a lot of people who do own Venti have long since quit the game. I think this is what a lot of people don't understand as well, is that a lot of the people participating in these databases likely are newer players who have started the game maybe middle of 1.0 patch, or when Inazuma rolled around, or maybe even post Inazuma, right? So it's like, I get it. It's not the OG players anymore. That's why people can say like, oh, well, if we include all the players that Venti would have a higher, well, that just is even worse. That's even worse because that'll just drive this number up. The ownership rate is going to be higher. Maybe the OGs would prefer Venti in some scenarios, but this, I guarantee you, if you bring in the OGs as well into this picture, this number will go up, but not proportionally to this number. Meaning that the ownership rate is going to go up, but then the usage rate is going to go even lower because more people own him without playing him. So it's important that this is taking measurement of players who are currently still active in the game, which still puts Venti as an outlier. So for the person who was arguing with me on YouTube about Venti being relevant and strong and consistent and is better than Zhongli, I really like, once it gets to a certain point of the argument, I call it an argument because technically it is an argument. Once it gets to a certain point in the argument, most people can't really back up Venti anymore than just with their heart and soul. Okay, that's all they got. They got spirit, they got conviction, they have a belief, they have an agenda or something. That's all they got. They don't have facts. They don't have hard fact. Nothing is factual. It's all like, I can do it. I do this. Therefore, blah 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 blah. But most people do not enjoy playing Venti. Venti, like I keep reiterating, the biggest issue with Venti being that his burst skill is is AI reliant. You're relying on the AI of the game, meaning that let's say two enemies are relative distance to you. Which one is closer? Do you know which one is closer? No. A safe bet is always to circle around to one side of the enemy. So you put all the enemies on one side of you. So then when you shoot the burst, it kind of collects them all towards that one area. You don't want enemies on both sides of you. So you shoot left, and then the enemy on the right side is never going to get hit by your burst, right? So what ends up happening is at the start of every fight, you have to take Venti and you got to like run around the room until you find the perfect spot, or you just dash towards the enemy until you dash past them, then you shoot your burst backwards. And that really sucks when enemies don't get affected by your burst. And that's the primary reason why Venti doesn't get used. If Venti's burst affected most, if not all units in the game, I mean, he's the Anemo Archon. If anybody should be able to affect like heavier enemies, it should be Venti. Venti should be able to like vortex even the heaviest enemies in the game into his vortex. Maybe the rate of vortex is slower. Maybe one of his constellations increases the vortex suction rate and radius instead of some BS C1 that he has right now where he shoots 3 arrows instead of 1. Ooh, wow, so freaking sick. He should have an increased vortex rate, kind of like Zhongli C4, and maybe one of his constellations allows him to suck in heavier enemies. Oh, apologies for the sound. Let me just there we go. What is that? That is WeChat. That is the WeChat notification. Listen, if there was such a thing in Genshin Impact as like weight class, let's say Venti can suck enemies. Let's say weight class 1 is the Hilichurls, all the small ones. Weight class 2 is like the Metachurls and all that stuff, right? The middle-sized monsters, big slimes, stuff like that. Weight class 3 are like the lava churls, the big daddy ones, the ruin guards. They're weight class 3, and then the weight class 4 are like the bosses, hypostasis, stuff like that, right? If you categorize a weight class for the monsters and then specify that weight class in Venti's burst skill, saying Venti's burst skill can suck weight like mobs up to weight class 2, and one of his constellation should be allows Venti's burst to now affect weight class 3 enemies. That should be one of his bursts. Like that should be one of his constellations, right? That should be. I'm saying like maybe his C2. Like then there's more incentive to pull for constellations for vertical progression for Venti. That sounds like a good con, and it doesn't break the game. Listen, people who like, yeah, but like not all monsters are gonna be like, a lot of people are gonna abuse Morgana, right? But like not all monsters are freezable nowadays. You guys have to understand, a lot of weight class 4 and above monsters aren't even freezable anymore. But that's gonna make Venti relevant again. Yeah, like that's the only way to make Venti, and I'll say it this much. That won't even make Venti like compete with Kazuha, because Kazuha functions in a completely different way. Kazuha is able to apply Viridescence without the need of sucking the mobs in, because Kazuha uses himself as an epicenter to create an entire Anemo swirl element, right? So his role in the game is slightly different from Venti if Venti were even able to suck the bigger mobs. So yes, Kazuha will see slightly reduced usage rate because it's just inevitable. Once Venti has that, has his roll back, essentially, I think Kazuha is going to drop down a little bit. Ideally, Kazuha should be hovering around like, I don't know. I think a fair amount of usage rate for Kazuha should be around 40%, 30% even. And the Venti should be around 50-60%. Like as an Archon, you would expect him to be that good, but you know, whatever. Apart from that, a lot of people were also saying that conditional units should not have been on the the top 10 rerun list. However, it was the reason I've included conditional units in my rerun list is I've seen so many people, actually a little too many people, own certain characters without building their best in slot teams. So for those people who have already, I've seen people with like a C2 Ayaka, but they don't have a Shenhe. And it's not like I'm saying you absolutely have to. That's why to me, Shenhe, if you have an Ayaka already, I put Shenhe as number 10 on the list, meaning that that number 10 only affects people who have Ayaka. I should have probably doubled down and said, like, if you don't have Ayaka, Ayaka should be your number 10. But if you have Ayaka, then Shenhe should be your number 10. Something like that. And conditional as well. Oh yeah, number 6, Faruzan. This was a big one. So when I said Faruzan at number 6, and I said a C6 Faruzan, right? I think at number 6, saying Faruzan was C6 was because I said if you have Zhao or Scaramouche in your account and you were actively building and wanting to play them, you want your account to be centered around them, you're already dead set on playing this character, even then, Faruzan C6 is not your number 1 priority because that'll likely just ruin your account in the long run. So I said I put her at, I remember it was number 6. Let me see. I have it here. I have it written down. Right here. Right? I said Faruzan number 6, and I think that's a fair place for her to be. Okay? Because in my opinion, you should, if you're building for any form of hyper carry in the game, you shouldn't half-ass your hyper carry teams. Hyper carry teams are the one category of teams that you really shouldn't half-ass, meaning like, oh, I want to play Zhao, but I don't want to pull Faruzan. I don't want to get C6 Faruzan. If she's now in the game, she suddenly will become a very good, like, she's a top priority for you. She is currently, in my opinion, the best, what do you call it? Like the Goro, the Sara, now Faruzan. She's the best mono team buffer we have. In my opinion, she is even more transformative than Shenhe for Ayaka. In my opinion. Okay? You guys might feel like that's not true, but I find C6 Faruzan is better than C0 Shenhe. Ha ha ha, no shit, Walrus. Of course she is. Of course, Shenhe C6 just is insane. The like what Shenhe C6 can pull off, obviously she's a 5-star. But even with Shenhe C6, I can make a case for Faruzan, being that Faruzan C6 actually adds something to Zhao and Scaramouche's kit that Shenhe doesn't really do, even with her C6. Shenhe C6 just hits like a truck. Like, you just do more damage. But Faruzan C6, it removes some of the issues from these characters' kits that some people may find annoying. So that's why I have her so high up, even higher than Zhongli. But that's only if you have Zhao and Scaramouche and you're planning to build them. And you're really wanting to build them. You love these characters. You want them to function well, be the best versions of themselves. Faruzan is probably, yes, a higher, in my opinion, it's higher than Zhongli, because you can easily run a C6 Faruzan with Zhao and then run Zhao with some pseudo shielder. You know, Zhao doesn't need Zhongli. Zhao just needs some sort of anti-interruption, some shield to protect him during his already vulnerable state. Right? Scaramouche doesn't want to get interrupted during his attack sequences. There are plenty of shielders in the game that can take the place of Zhongli to protect them, but there's very little replacement, if any, for Faruzan and what she can do. I know a lot of people are not happy with having Faruzan so high up on the list. And like I said, you know, these kind of lists are definitely interchangeable. If you don't have these kind of preferences, you likely don't need to follow it as tightly. This is just like my findings after looking at my account, talking with other people who have played the game and, you know, have certain characters built up. They have strong preferences for certain characters with certain conditions, such as owning Zhao, playing Scaramouche. Okay, and a lot of people, another one, Nilou. This is a good one. Nilou. Tech says Shinhe and Faruzan are luxury units. They are not necessary to have their strong respective teams. What about Yaimiko and Fischl? Yaimiko and Fischl, in my opinion, are kind of usurped by Kuki. The fact that Kuki exists in the game has basically made Yaimiko also a luxury unit, in my opinion. And most people have Raiden, so Raiden with EM Raiden can replace Yaimiko in a couple scenarios, if not all of them. And I would say like Raiden Kuki in a team is you're still getting double Electro, right? And I think Kuki is just a more desirable unit than Fischl currently. Yeah, so that's my opinion. I don't think Fischl and Yaimiko can rival Kuki and Raiden, if that makes sense. Okay, like, right? Like, if we look at it like that, do you guys value Fischl more right now or Kuki more? I would say Kuki. Do you guys value Yaimiko more right now or Raiden? I would say Raiden. Right, so that's why Kuki is here. That's why Raiden is here, but not Fischl and not Yaimiko. Kuki is only Hyper Bloom. Really, Miko and Fischl are both Aggravate. Okay, I get what you're saying, but Aggravate right now doesn't really compete with Hyper Bloom. Right now, recommendation-wise, I cannot over-recommend a certain elemental typing. If I over-recommend, like, oh, you need to get Kuki, and also you need to get Fischl, and you need to get Yaimiko, and you need to get, like, it's just, you know, it doesn't add, there's really no bats. I have to pick the better of the options. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I had a maybe top 20 list, maybe I can include more characters, but right now, like I said, Nilou is also missing from this list, and I'm about to get to why I haven't included Nilou in the top 10. Even though Nilou, strength-wise, is stronger than some of the characters that are on this list. There's a reason why I've omitted Nilou from this list, and I've even omitted Nilou from the honorable mentions. And there's a reason for that, right? Because she is so damn niche. She is even more niche, in my opinion, than Shinhe. And Shinhe is a conditional top 10 here. She's not even like a absolute must-have. If this is a real top 10, like a top 15, even a top 20 list, maybe Shinhe can crack a top 10, 20 list. But legitimately, she would never even be on a top 10 list. Okay. And the reason why Nilou is not here is because of how niche she is. She is too niche. She is crazily niche. She is so niche that if you are building Nilou, you are basically you're forced to construct a Dendro and a Hydro team, right? That's the team you have. That's giving so much into building that one specific team, and you're gambling so much on Super Bloom that if there ever is a scenario where Super Bloom doesn't work, Nilou basically gets locked out. If you guys look at the recommendations I have here, yes, there are niche options. I'm not saying there's no niche options. Shinhe is a niche option. This is a niche recommendation. So is this, right? Any mono team is by that standard, by that whatever, by that logic, by that logic is a niche recommendation. However, Zhao, Scaramouche, these are characters that, in my opinion, have large fan bases, meaning there are a lot of people who are, like, combined, these two characters have a lot of people who enjoys playing them. But when it comes to Nilou just feels like, how should I put it? Nilou feels like a character that, like, you would have to be a very meta-driven person to want to build Nilou. Does that make sense? You have to be an incredibly meta-driven person. And while I do think she has her merits now, but I, like, somewhere at the back of my head feels like Nilou is going to fluctuate more than a lot of these other characters. In my opinion, Nilou rivals the strength of somebody close to, like, even what Yelan is capable of doing. She's incredibly strong. But, like, building a Nilou right now is just... I don't know. Something doesn't feel right to me about Nilou. Yeah, like, yeah, she's cheap. She's like, I think Nilou is even cheaper than Alhaitham. Like, she can clear the abyss with less input, like with less investment than even Alhaitham. She works with like the most budget team imaginable. Boris, you haven't even built Nilou and tried her. I tried her though. I tried her with other people's account. That's why I didn't build her. Characters I didn't build are Sino and Nilou. These two characters, even though and also I pulled her like last second, so I really didn't have any time to build her up. But I was able to play like multiple accounts for Nilou. Multiple accounts actually. I think like 3 different accounts I was playing with Nilou. And Nilou's drawback is really just how niche this character is. And yes, case in point being that likely in the future she will have more and more options, especially with Fontaine, but we don't know what they are right now. The only one that I can say for certain likely is coming is Baiju, right? And Baiju likely is going to work well with Nilou. I'm assuming, right? Baiju, maybe Nahida, or Baiju like Alhaitham with Nilou and what's her name? Yelan, right? So stuff like that. I can see that happening, but I just don't have enough confidence right now to hard push Nilou as a recommended unit without her having like a concrete future. You guys notice I didn't even put Alhaitham on here, even though Alhaitham is like a rock solid character. He's in the honorable mentions, right? So, I mean, if people wanted to, like, if I were to remove somebody, I would remove Faruzan. I put Faruzan C6 back here. So Faruzan C6 if you have Zhao here, and I would put Nilou maybe around 6. That's where I would have her. If I were to kind of remove all the conditions, I think Faruzan C6 is more important, in all honesty. Maybe I'll just push everything back. I'll push everything back. Kokomi 10, Kuki C4, Yael C2, 9, Zhongli 8, Faruzan C6 if you have Zhao or Scaramouche at number 7, and then number 6 would be Nilou. If I had to slot her in, that's roughly where she would be in. Roughly, right? Yeah, right now I don't know. I don't want to put her on the list because I don't know how well she's going to be performing in the many abysses to come. A lot of these characters, like Kuki, even took a while for her to really solidify herself as a key unit. And I said in the video that the reason Kuki is even on here is because I don't think Hoyoverse is going to release an Electro Applicator Healer 5-star, meaning a Kuki Shinobu upgrade anytime soon. That's why I think I said even Kuki is even on here. And Yao Yao likely eventually is just gonna get crept up by Baiju, which hopefully is coming in the next, I don't know, 3 patches or so. Troy Actress is right. You say Nilou is niche, but you have 2 characters that are also niche. Right, but these 2 characters, in my opinion, they have proven themselves to be quite transformative to certain specific team comps. In the case of Faruzan C6 is truly transformative for Zhao and Scaramouche. I don't think we really need to argue about that. For people who want to place Zhao and Scaramouche, I honestly don't think it's even worthwhile to go hard. Let's say, oh, I'm going to pull for Zhao's weapon. I'm going to get him to C1. I'm going to get Scaramouche. I'm going to like build him. I'm going to spend like 2 months farming domains to get his best artifact set. But I'm going to run him with a 4-star weapon and not going to even bother with Faruzan. But I just don't think that's. I don't think that's a smart move at all. Now, if you're saying, can you beat the Abyss, right? Like, this is then, when I say this, people will immediately default to, well, like, but you can beat the Abyss. You can easily beat the game with that. Listen, none of these characters are required for beating the Abyss, right? So why do we agree Nahida is the best, Kazuha is like a close second, stuff like that? If anybody agrees on anything else, then everything falls apart if we start to pull out the argument, well, like, oh, you don't need it to beat the Abyss. But like, for certain Zhao players, listen, like, I'm a very down-to-earth player. I'm not here selling you guys like a meta plan. I'm not here to sell you guys on how, like, character rotations, how you have to play Zhao's rotation. But I'm telling you, people who have Zhao, people who have pulled Zhao, who have also a C6 Fadozen, have all claimed that Zhao feels much, much better. He performs better. He does more damage. A lot of his problems starts to go away. Stuff like that, right? That's what people have been saying. Same with Scaramouche. Like, oh, Scaramouche feels like a much better character to play when you have C6 Fadozen. I played them with C6 Fadozen. It's very different. It doesn't even feel like the same character, right? Daryl Walker says, outside the seeds, isn't Nilou a Hydro D-look? Yeah, basically. Yeah, she's like D-look, but a little more fluidity to it. Pretty much, yeah. Without her special effect of turning Bloom into Super Blooms, yeah, she's basically like a Hydro D-look, kind of, yeah. But that's if you take away her ability to make Super Blooms. But once you add that in, that special effect of creating Super Bloom, suddenly she becomes a broken unit. Like, I don't, it's not like I don't understand people saying Nilou deserves to be on this list currently, right, for people, but also for me, it's just like, there's so many great options to play the game right now currently that I just feel like Nilou is still a little too niche in the current, like, Abyss. She's proven herself. She's proven herself since her release. She's been used a lot. But maybe if you give me another 3-4 patches down the line, and I continue to see her being really high up and see that nothing really counters her, Hoyoverse has no plans of really making it hard for her, and she's gonna continue just riding the wave. Where is she actually? Yeah, like, she's really good, right? Like, look at that. Very few people actually own her, but like, most people who own her are using her. So this is a great thing to see. She's definitely no like Raiden Shogun level. She's no like Kokomi level. She's not like this high up, but that's also because not a lot of people own her. Maybe in the future more people own her. I think this likely will increase. Not a lot of people really understands how good she is, maybe. I don't know. Maybe people just didn't prioritize her and didn't see her as a high enough value character, especially with Nahida coming right afterwards, right? She was literally the character that was released before Nahida, so maybe after her rerun, this will go up. It's just, it's tough to make this decision. I didn't even put Al-Haytham on the list, and he's like, these newer characters, I can't put a finger on them just yet. The only one I could have done really was Fadozen, because Fadozen was a no-brainer. What is this website? This isn't a website. This is a little, this is an add-on for an app called WeChat. It's an add-on for an app, for a chatting app called WeChat. Kit is saying, why YTF is Zhongli on your list? I mean, look at this. Why is he not on the list? You'd be crazy right now to not have Zhongli on your top 10 recommendations list for people. You just want to see people crash and burn. The man, look, if anybody's arguing for Nilou, Zhongli has never went below this number in the history, I believe, of his Abyss presence, ever. Since 1.2 or 1.3, his update. If you guys are fighting tooth and nail for Nilou, how can you not fight for a character who has been here like 10 times her time and never even fallen below what she currently is running at. He can be a DP loss, he's Geo and will ruin some reactions. Okay, Kit. I love that you brought that up. Kit, let me ask you an honest question and I want you to answer me honestly, okay? And don't feel like you're gonna offend people because honesty here is key. Kit, be honest. How many Genshin Impact players do you think plays the game optimally to a point where the things you just mentioned, like, oh, DPS loss, right? He's Geo and he's gonna ruin reactions. How many people do you think that actually affects to the point where that's the difference between a clear, hell, I would even say that's the difference between a 36 star versus like a 35, 34 star. Do you think people are taking advantage of a higher DPS team enough players in Genshin Impact? Do you think that's the case? Or the other side of the coin is, do you think people are already making plenty of mistakes to the point where adding a Zhongli in there is not going to be a make it or break it type deal, right? Because remember, what are we doing here, kid? We're recommending these characters. We're recommending a list of characters to who? Who are we recommending it to? Like Harvard, Genshin Harvard graduates, like seasoned 10-year veterans, like gacha veterans. You don't know who's sitting on the other side of the computer screen. You don't know. They might be sitting with their hamster pedaling away on an electric wheel for electricity. If it was Genshin Harvard, obviously, if a meta YouTuber, I'm sure if Zajev were to make a list, I'm sure he would put Nilou in the top 10. I'm sure he would have Zhongli maybe ranked even lower than me. I have Zhongli at number 7, right? I have Zhongli at number 7. He's below Yelan. He's below Raiden. Even though right now he's higher than Yelan Renner. But I can see that going forward in the future, Yelan has more room for growth. The reason Yelan is here is that Yelan is currently probably the best Hydro unit in the game. Probably. People will argue for Kokomi, right? But my Kokomi here is at number 9. And people were already like, Kokomi should be higher. But in my opinion, Kokomi kind of lost a little bit of her real estate here because of Kuki and Yao Yao. And once Baiju comes around, I think Kokomi will also see a very, very steep competition there with Baiju. So I foresee Kokomi to, like, this is just me talking with my gut feeling after playing this game for like since the beginning, right? That's just me. If Kuki never existed, Yayo doesn't exist, and I don't know when Baiju's coming, maybe Kokomi would be like number 6, maybe number 7. She would be bumped up a little bit. But because Kuki exists nowadays, she's not really prioritized in Hyper Bloom teams. Kuki is. Yayao's release also made Kokomi less competitive, slightly, but not really. AJ Gone Rogue says, Raw Zajer did make a list and he put Nilou real high. Yeah, of course he did. As you should. When it comes to meta, I think Nilou definitely should be very, very high on most people's list. But this is like, I'm basically recommending characters that are like surefire. I know for a fact that these characters, if you have, let's say, Ayaka, getting Shinhe, pairing her, getting Kazuha, playing her with the Kokomi, Shinhe, Kazuha, it's a great team, right? You pretty much one-shot every single boss in the game with your burst. This is low, yes, exactly. This list is low investment comfort, not meta focus. Yes, there's some levels of meta in here, like Nahida, Kazuha, no one's really going to argue. These are some of the best characters in the game. Yelan Raiden, there's no problems telling people to pull that. Investing into Banish and Xiangling, nothing wrong with that, right? But when you look at me recommending maybe Shenhe, people are going to have a knee-jerk reaction. It's mostly a knee-jerk reaction, but once you kind of take a couple steps back and then try to see it from other people's perspective, people who have Ayaka, people who are struggling with Ayaka, be like, oh, why is my Ayaka, right? Then it starts making some levels of sense. I'm not saying it's a perfect list. I never tried to claim any of this stuff is perfect. I'm just here saying, hey, you know, this is probably a good idea. Not your immediate thing. Let's say if you don't have Raiden, you don't have Yelan, you don't have Kazuha, you don't have Kuki built, and you know you don't even have Kokomi, then this is not really that far up your list, in my opinion. There's so many other things you can do to bolster your account, especially if, let's say, Shenhe is on a rerun with Raiden Shogun or Nahida or Yelan, right? Stuff like that. I would prioritize some of these other characters as they're just going to help your account overall better. Father-Zan C6 Shenhe is not low investment. Great point. But the point being that Father-Zan will likely see more reruns than, let's say, Nilou. I like that. When it comes to 4-stars, you'll likely see Father-Zan reruns more so than Nilou. And while Father-Zan's rerunning, if you want the 5s, let's say Father-Zan reruns with, I don't know, Scaramouche sometime in the future, and the other banner, I don't know, Scaramouche paired with who? With who? Who is a great pair with Scaramouche? I don't know, Nahida? Raiden? Zhongli? Right? So you might be polling for Zhongli, and you just slip a couple Father-Zan constellations in there. 4-star characters have the benefit of being able to kind of slide in there with some of the 5-star characters, so you might not even want them. You're not even really hunting for Father-Zan cons, and you just end up getting a couple. I'm not saying get them all on the same banner, but over a couple span of time, you should be looking for banners that maybe have Father-Zan and also characters you want. Let's say you're hunting for Kokomi, and then there's a rerun with a Scaramouche banner, Scaramouche with Kokomi. Or if by sheer luck, Kokomi is rerunning with, I don't know, like for example, Raiden Shogun. I remember they did a rerun with that. Kokomi Raiden, and then you have Father-Zan just randomly on there as a character. So okay, like I'll pull for Raiden, I guess, and I'll get maybe one or two cons. That's the benefit of a 4-star. So these 4-star characters really aren't that crazy if you like separate them over a period of time to slowly work your way to C6. TechVirus says, Walruss, I don't understand your official reasoning. Her A4 passive is transformative and her aggravate triggers more aggravates. Yeah, but the thing is, official nowadays, you don't, like, if you have a Kuki, most of your problems are solved, right, Techie? Like, are you saying that official right now is better than Kuki? Because right here, at this current position, it's either official or Kuki, in my opinion. And I think Kuki outperforms official in terms of raw, like, just performance and value. So if people are saying official is better than Kuki, then this is where I would say she deserves to be. But in my opinion, I think Kuki right now is in a position where she's more difficult to replace. Kuki is a healing, yeah. Like, how many teams right now would need a healer who is Electro? There's quite a number of teams. And listen, let's just pretend Dory doesn't exist. Okay, everybody pretend Dory is just non-existent. Fischl has her place in the game, but it's a much more comfortable, in my opinion, much more comfortable build to go for Kuki. And you don't even, C4 isn't even like a must. Like C2, you can get away with the C2 Kuki, right? C2 Kuki is fine. C4 is just comfort. Once you get C4 Kuki, ignore her. You don't need any more. In my opinion, you don't need any more. I'm not saying Fischl's not a good unit. I'm just saying in this current state, Hyper Bloom teams are just a leg above Aggravate teams. That's like, I'm just saying, I feel like Hyper Bloom is better than Aggravate right now. Alright. Use Raiden plus Yaya to replace Kuki. Yeah, but like, you're using two characters, one of them being an Archon, to replace one character. Just think about that. The consolidation of slots and roles in the game is so important for Genshin right now. Look how many characters you have, and they're not stopping anytime soon. More and more and more. They're just going to keep piling on. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you're like, damn, there's way too many characters. Like, then characters who can do multiple things but condensed into one character is immensely valuable. That's why Kuki is, in my opinion, is incredibly valuable. She can heal, she can apply electro. Right? Like that's amazing. That's amazing for what currently we need in the game. Yeah, she doesn't offer much damage. In fact, she doesn't really offer any noticeable damage unless you truly build for it. But what she allows you to do in your team is flexibility. She opens up your slots to more powerful characters in other slots. Right? So I think this is, in my opinion, Kuki is also considered like a low-hanging fruit for people to get their leg in. EroticWalruss is Warriors Nahida's Hyper Bloom Stronghold team is Nahida, Xingqiu, Raiden, Yelan, which are all characters I have on this list. In fact, they're all in the top 5, right? So I'm like, this is why, like, we can go just with this list and probably construct a couple pretty good teams, just like bouncing back and forth between a lot of the characters on this list. They're great characters, right? Sure, like we can make a case in point being, okay, Shinhe shouldn't be on here. We'll bump everything down, put Nilou at number 6, and this likely will be a more meta accurate list, right? Like fair to say. But I think this list has its merits to help people who are kind of in between meta and comfort. There are people who, a big question that I got was like, oh, do I need Fadozen to play Xiao? Like, when you say need, are you saying like, oh, without Fadozen, Xiao doesn't work? Then how did he survive until now, right? So you don't really need Fadozen, but how transformative, a better way to ask that question is, really, how transformative is Fadozen C6 for Xiao? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, he feels like a completely different character, how transformative is Fadozen for Xiao? That's probably a better way to ask the question. And on a scale of 1 to 10, in my opinion, after playing Xiao without a C6 Fadozen and then playing him with a C6 Fadozen, I would say somewhere between an 8 and a 9. So maybe 8.5. It's a very transformative experience. It doesn't solve everything, but it solves so many things, right? Like having a Nemo resistance shred, having the ability to suck mobs together. It just makes your life so much easier. Like, no longer do you have to worry about like positioning, knocking things. Like, I remember that people were arguing with me like, oh, when you play Xiao and you have a bunch of enemies, you should like go to this side of the enemies, hit them towards the center, then go to the other side and hit them towards the center, so then you get a group of enemies, then you reposition yourself on the top and hit. It's just like, why should I be thinking about that when playing this character? This shouldn't even be a problem as a part of his kit. It should have never been a problem. And for people who are arguing like, oh, but mobs shouldn't even survive long enough for Xiao, it's like, okay, I see your point, right? Like, oh, you should be killing mobs instantly with Xiao. Like, you should never even have a problem. Like, we're just gonna pretend like low investment Xiaos don't exist. Like, people who are playing with like subpar artifacts and stuff like that. Now, then you see, then people be like, oh, if they're playing subpar artifact Xiao in the circle moves, then they're not really Xiao mains. True, but what if they just picked up the character? People can work towards their artifacts and a C6 Fadozen simultaneously. Just because you have like a low investment Xiao doesn't mean like, oh, you gotta get your artifacts up, then you're qualified to pull for C6. It doesn't work like that. You can work towards both of these things simultaneously over a span of like a long span. No one's going to argue that C6 Fadozen is not best in slot for Xiao, right? It's a very transformative. So like, these lists for me there are people like Zajev, there are people like Tenten, there are people like Ziox, I keep forgetting some of their names. Sevi plays Braxophone. They're out there. They're more meta focused. They're content creators who are dedicated towards that. Listen, people, why do you guys think? No, be honest. Like, why do you guys even think I have an audience? Oh, why do you guys think I even have an audience? Is it because do people watch me for meta advice? Like, if you think about it, I think it's just to have a conversation, right? It's just to have a conversation. If you come to me for advice, I think I can give enough advice to help you better your account overall. I think I can do that. But if you want the best meta advice, like just with all the nitty gritty numbers, details, there are better people out there for that. And I've named them just now. Those are the people you go to for hard, factual meta advice. For me, my job, well, not my job. I wish this was my job. But my purpose here for you guys is that I just want to help as many people as I can while also not being so like math heavy, meta focused, because to me, in many ways than one, being too meta focused will suck out a lot of the fun and experimental parts about Genshin that, in all honesty, is more fun than actually clearing the game. I think I've had more fun trying to figure out how to clear the game as opposed to when I actually cleared the game. Right? So I don't know if it's the same for you guys. For me, the moment, like that moment when it clicks is the best for me. Being like, oh, it worked. It worked. After like, let's say trying something that didn't work for 1 hour, 2 hours. After it works, that 1 hour and 2 hour of experimentation becomes fun. That process becomes fun. Obviously, it's not fun if I sit there for 6 hours and it doesn't work and I'm just frustrated beyond belief because Hoyoverse designed it to be too difficult. Right? That's not fun. But fun resides between just enough challenge, just enough resistance, but it gives enough leeway for us to go through it. That's fun. It's not fun to hit your head on a brick wall over and over for 6 hours, but it's fun if you're hitting it maybe on styrofoam, you know? If you're maybe hitting it on like some yeah, it shouldn't hurt is what I'm saying. And what I'm doing here, recommending a lot of these things to you guys, is that for people who are playing Xiao and Scaramouche, this recommendation, based on my experience between a C, like without a C6 Rotterdam and with a C6 Rotterdam, based off of that experience, I'm basically putting it into a weird numerical value. Which, if you think about it, these things, like, there isn't a numerical value for how valuable like a C6 Rotterdam is. Like, you can't slap a numerical value. Like, how feel good is it? Like, what the hell is that supposed to mean, right? But I'm, in my best ways, I'm trying to relay that experience to the people watching, to the people who have questions about this. Like, okay, I have Xiao, I have Scaramouche, but how important is C6 Rotterdam? What about C4? What about C2? Basically, if they come across this video, I'm trying to tell them, if you love Xiao and Scaramouche and you are building them, you're wanting to main them, go for that C6 Rotterdam. She is much higher on your priority list than many other people's priority lists, right? And the same thing, but at the same time, people who come across this video can also cross-reference some of these options with Ziox or Zajev's options. They'll probably see, like, I'm sure Zajev has Kazuha on it, right? Like, I mean, come on. Come on. He probably has Nahida on it. I'm pretty sure he has Raiden. I'm pretty sure he has Yalan. I don't know if he has Zhongli. Okay, I don't know. He might not. I know meta players really don't like Zhongli. He might have Zhongli at like number 10 or something. He maybe have Kokomi. And I don't know what else he would have on there. If I were to blindly guess some other, like Nilu, right? I was guessing that, like, I would guess meta players would have Nilu. I guess Al-Haytham. I guess he'll have Al-Haytham on here, especially if he's doing one right now. Right? So, but yeah, that's I think Alhaitham and Nilou will replace Faruzan and Shinhe, in my opinion. And I think this probably is also replaced by some other character. I don't know what he would have for like these 4-star replacement. Simon did Tommaso says he hates Kokomi for some reason. You mean what do you mean? You mean me or what's his Zajev? I can see him not liking Kokomi. Okay, I can see that. You know why? Because meta players, theory crafters, hate healers and shielders. Everything they do for their accounts and optimizations is more damage because the end goal of Abyss is to clear it as fast as possible. So ideally, when you recommend teams for people, you want them to run teams that have the highest DPS output to clear the rooms as fast as possible while not getting one shot. You know, don't get hit, right? Like, duh. You don't have a healer. Why would you need a heal if you never take damage? That's basically their logic of like right? Just play the game properly. Just dodge when you need to and abuse the DPS windows that you get. It's like, oh my god. BLXSTZD Blexzid says if you base this tier list not for meta, then say it. Also, if you have 5 broken characters on tier list, it's kind of for meta, isn't it? Base it off how fun they are instead if it's not for meta. Okay, I think there might be some misunderstanding. So think about it like this. For people who come to this list and are looking for meta options, right? Let's say, okay, you see, by your logic, if somebody's a meta player, they'll come to this list. If they do come to this list, they'll look at like C6 Faruzan for Zhao Scaramouche. I don't care about Zhao Scaramouche. I'm a meta player. Do meta players play Zhao and Scaramouche? What the fuck? Ignore that. Okay, so what is this guy saying? He's saying build Yelan. I don't have Yelan. Okay, maybe I should build Yelan. Okay, cool. Sure, I guess. Shenhe if I have Ayaka. Ew! What the? I don't want to play Ayaka. That's disgusting. Kokomi, right? It's not like my number one here is like, I don't know, just like ka-ching, right? You're dude, the way you're writing that comment, you're making me sound like, yo, bro, best unit in the game, ka-ching. Followed by that, build Venti, everybody. Build Venti. Dude, I love Venti. You should build Venti. And then number 3 character, Yoimiya, baby. All right, get yourselves on that Yoimiya hype train. Click. Get that Yoimiya stock here. We're rising to the top real soon. And then we got number 4, best unit in the game here. You guys should all build Sino, my guy. Like, Sino is the way to go. Like, you're making me sound like, I'm talking like that. But really, look at how I've constructed this list. You're looking at it with a skewed perspective in that, oh, this is not factually accurate. But realistically, somebody who is meta-driven comes here onto this list and sees Faruzan, sees it, they'll straight up just ignore it. They'll straight up just jump over that section. Like, nope, not me. Don't care. I don't care about Zhao Scaramouche. Jump it over. Let's see what he says for number 5. Yelan, okay. I see it. Stuff like that, right? Like, you see how this list is. If this is not you, ignore it. If you don't care about Ayaka, or if you don't have Ayaka, ignore it. It's not important. I gave a couple hyper carries that I think if you like hyper carries, you play hyper. If you're missing some on-field DPS, Ayaka is great. Alhaitham is great. I believe my third one was Ayato. Ayato is also great. Like I said, I omitted Nilou specifically for this video because I really don't know where she's headed as a character. I don't know. She might be strong now, but I don't know where she's headed. Ideally, she's going to get even better. Ideally, right? And everything points maybe towards she should get better with Fontaine coming up, with Baiju coming out, likely more Dendro in the future. But this is what I think. I think HoYoverse is going to pivot away from, because we're getting what's that character? What's the 4-star character that's coming out next patch? The cryo one. What's the dude? Miko. Yeah. Mika, yeah, that dude, the 4-star. We're getting a 4-star cryo unit. Like, have you guys stopped to think about that? HoYoverse might be pivoting back to some of the more traditional stuff, right? So I don't know what the hell Hoyoverse has cooked in their bag. They might not release another Hydro unit until Fontaine. They might not release a Dendro unit until midway to Fontaine. Who's to say Baiju is to come a patch before Fontaine? Who's to say Baiju's to come like midway through Fontaine? You don't know that. Sure, Nilou is strong. I will give her that. And she has been strong since her release. But she is essentially forcing you to play double Hydro, double Dendro. Like you're playing Nilou, and although you can construct that with a Barbara, with like a freedom like a Lisa, a Barbara, a Dendro MC, and Nilou. No. What the hell am I talking about? Lisa. You can play Yao Yao. You can play. You can play. Wait, what was the free to play team? Xingqiu, was it not? It was Xingqiu, Dendro MC, Nilou. Who am I missing? Kale. Oh, Kale. God damn. I was like, oh, I was like, there is a free to play. There is a free to play character, wasn't there? Yeah, my brain was literally just turning off. I was like, Fischl, why Fischl, Barbara, and Yao Yao. Wait a minute. No. Yeah, so like, I know Nilou has like these really insane free to play teams. Very insane free to play teams that you just auto win with those teams in the Abyss because of how insane her Super Bloom is. And I'll give her that. But that I really don't want to recommend that character to people just yet. If you were to ask me maybe 6 months from now, there's a good chance maybe she'll be on the list. But I'm just coming clean with you guys. Like I don't want to have her on the list as of now, as of yet. And I think hopefully some people will understand that it's a fair reason to not include her. Partisan C6 is even more niche than Nilou C6 since she only was. Yeah, but the thing is, look at the condition. What is Nilou's condition? Oh, if you only want to play Dendro and Hydro, like, it's not a realistic condition. It's not, that's not a legit. Like, oh, if you're doing a YouTube challenge where you only do Hydro and Dendro, then I highly recommend you invest into a Nilou. You see what I'm saying? There's gonna be much more people who own Zhao and Scaramouche combined than people who own like Nilou who want to like. You see what I mean? The reason I include things in my videos is because way too many people ask me these questions. What is Fadozan's condition? Fadozan's condition is just if you are dedicated to Zhao and Scaramouche, if you either own them or you plan to own them, let's say you are dead set. Like when Scaramouche comes back, you are selling your house to C6 him. Maybe not that extreme, but you're going to take out a fat loan from the bank to C6 this man and R5 him. Probably a good idea to C6 your Fadozan while you're on your way. Like maybe Fadozan might get a rerun before Scaramouche. If you're dead set on playing these two characters, one of them or both of them, hell, I don't care. You can play all of them. You can play what's his name? Hazo for all I care, right? If you're dedicated to an Anemo hypercarry team comp, C6ing your Fadozan is pretty damn important. She actually is very important, as there is like the only other replacement for what she does in terms of her kit is like if you have oh my god, that's so disgusting to even play that. Like you need Zhongli just to rival some of her Anemo shred, even though Zhongli doesn't even completely rival her shred, if I remember correctly. And then you need like another person who can suck enemies together, which like what, like Venti or like Kazuha? Like it's just so weird. Like you're never gonna like you need two insane characters just to like. It's like that memes, like look what they need just to achieve a fraction of our power. That's like, what's that meme? Like, it's literally this meme. Where is it? Yeah, it's like you put Zhongli here, and then you put Venti here, and then you put Fadozan's face here. That's the format. You put Zhongli, you put Venti, and then you put Fadozan. It's insane how much you need to just try to achieve C6 Fadozan. No guarantee for 4 stars. Yeah, that's why you do it over like multiple reruns, and you're doing it while you're rolling for 5 stars that you want. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey, if you want Raiden, and Raiden is rerunning with, let's say, some other character, and somehow Fadozan ends up on the banner, you don't care about Fadozan really, but as a byproduct, you're pulling for Raiden anyways. You know, work your way up to that C6 for Fadozan slowly, especially if you already own a Scaramouche. Every bit of Fadozan cons, once you already own Zhao and Scaramouche, you're gonna feel it. Although you're not gonna feel it that much, once you get to that C6, you will feel it. This is a work in progress, slow burn over time, right? Work towards it. I mean, if you have the wallet, you can get it immediately. But if you don't, plenty of opportunities. I'm telling you guys right now, Fadozan, she ain't that special. In Hoyo versus Eyes, she's not going to be like, they're not going to gatekeep a Fadozan. But, you know, as somebody who wants to play Zhao and Scaramouche, once she does come around, you better value it. You better take advantage of it. Let me... So, okay, so now we will we'll end this stream with account reviews. I think we've talked enough. Let me I need to try to get on people's accounts. Okay. Technical says, Walrus, can you remove? Yeah, of course, of course. I can take a look at your account next weekend, I believe. Let's try this. Hopefully this is right. It didn't work. Marcus Bullock, you're here, right? Marcus, can you DM me your info? Wait, Marcus, is your name in Discord? I see. That has to be you. because you're the only one with I see. It also says it's wrong. Moonlight says, Walrus, what do you think about my Spiral Bis team? Let me see. Moonlight. Spiral Bis team. So let's see. Let's open it here so people can take a look. I'll just take a look here, and then why don't we all look at it together? All right. So this is Moonlight Spiral Bis team. Let's take a look. I think you're just you're kind of you're all over the place with these two teams, right? I don't know why Raiden is here. I would rather have Raiden be on this team. I think Raiden being on this team and then substituting, like just getting rid of Eula altogether, is going to be just generally better. Right? Like removing Raiden, maybe even removing Kazuha. If you have Barbara, which I'm sure you do, but I'm pretty sure you haven't built her. Barbara likely would be a better option in the second half. Remove Eula, remove Jean, slap Raiden here, put Barbara in. Remove Kazuha. Oh, you probably don't have Albedo or Yelan or Zhongli, right? Because if you do, there's no reason why you wouldn't use Zhongli here. So if you don't have Albedo, you don't have Yelan, you don't have Zhongli. Yikes. Yeah, if you have a Bennett here, this wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, if you drop Hu Tao, put a Bennett in here, and put Raiden as your main carry, it wouldn't be too bad either. But like, I can see why you're not clearing the room fast enough, right? Like this team probably isn't cycling through abilities fast enough to deal with the ruin guards. And then the second half, you're probably also struggling a little bit here. I don't know how you have your Jean built, but I don't know if her heals can come back in time. I'm relying on Yai and Eula to output damage. Is probably just in this abyss though. I can maybe see a case made for this second half, like me using Yai, Eula to kind of try to pop the Makugenkis. I can see that. And also the third chamber probably isn't. I mean, I could definitely see this team doing it. Calvin G Aces Walrus, but Nilou is an option if you want easy team to build, so you can focus more on the second team that not Dendro or Hydro that need more resources, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you. I think building it, but it's weird to say like, oh, pull this 5-star character so you can build like a budget ass team. Like I like there's so many great Nilou teams, right? They're with the current amount of Hydro Dendro characters. I understand you're saying use Nilou as the budget option and just scale off with her Super Bloom. But it just feels weird to me to say pull this 5-star character so you can play her with like a dull blade. Obviously not, but like so you can play her with minimum resources put in and just play like a budget ass team so you can focus on your other team and make it super good. Whereas I much rather recommend people to build core units, like multiple core units, again with the list. Right, like build up your Bennett, build up your Shinshu, build up your Xiangling, right? Focus, like get maybe a Yelan, maybe get yourself a Kazuha and Nahida, and continuously bolstering your account so that in the future, because like Barbara, once you take her off of a Nilou team, she's done. Like, why invest into like even leveling Barbara past level 20 for me feels like an absolute waste of resources for the majority of player. Like, why would you level up a Nilou? Excuse me. Why would you level up a Kale, right? Why would you invest all this stuff into them when there are amazing characters that you can be hunting after and just dump all the resource into them? So it's just like, it feels weird to say like, oh, even though yes, it's budget, you're putting in close to nothing, right? A very negligible amount of resources to build Nilou. But to me, it just feels like it's still wasted. You could have put it towards other things. There are much better characters, even less optimized characters. Like Yao Yao. I don't know, right? Like just build towards that. And I understand Yao Yao is also a great Nilou companion nowadays. She can work amazing with Nilou, but you guys get my point, right? It's just I know that's a way to beat the game, but to me, that's more of a spectacle. You get what I mean? That's a spectacle. It's like you do that to show off the fact that you can do it, not to actually do it. Nobody is that broke. Nobody is that unlucky. Nobody's struggling that much in Genshin. Like, oh, I have only Barbara, Cole, Dendro MC. I can't only have Doublade. I can't. That's not real. Like, that's not how people are. They're like, it's kind of like, it was always funny to me how people hold all free-to-plays to like Enviosity standard. You guys see what I mean? Like, do you guys remember the era when if you weren't playing the game like Enviosity, you weren't a real free-to-play player? Do you guys remember that? That was some BS, let me tell you that. And the whole like free-to-play, oh, you're using a 5-star weapon, that's not free-to-play. Oh, you have constellations on your 5-star, that's not free-to-play, even though like you might have, like some people might have just gotten lucky, but now people are like, oh, you're not having the real free-to-play experience. It's kind of the same thing as like, just because other people or content creators they've showcased that it can be done doesn't mean that should be what people chase for, right? Like, yes, it can be done, and if you absolutely need to, you could do that, but why actively do that to yourself? Like, why would you actively do that to yourself is my question. That's an accurate proliferation if you started playing last month. True, maybe, if you started playing last month, but if you started playing last month, you shouldn't really be worried about the Spiral Abyss right now, in my opinion. Like, if you're stressing out about this, like, you know, 36ing the Spiral Abyss, like, you're already breaking the #1 rule of Genshin, which is don't rush. There are people who are trapped in this cycle, like essentially cursed to roam the lands as a ghastly spirit, forever enwrapped by the wrath of Genshin and Dawei's FOMO tactics, and we're all screaming in writhing pain, being like, don't rush the game! And then you're still rushing the game. It's like, what more do you want? You know, what more do you want? We're literally stuck here telling you, don't rush, take your time, take it slow, play this game slow the heck down, don't rush through content. And you're still there rushing through content in 1 month. You're like, I got a 36-star The Abyss. Right? You know, like, there are some golden rules in Genshin, and don't rush is one of them, in my opinion. Like, I mean, hell, if you want to beat the game, you want to speed run Genshin, you can probably do it in like, what, like 3 days or something like that, with like weird glitches and whatnot. But I'm just here giving general advice, okay? General advice, just general advice. All right, let me take a look at the dude's account. Let's see if we can get in now. Okay. I think they said they fixed it, so let's try it. Let me. Still seems to be having some technical issues. Okay, there we go. All right, I've sent the verification to your email, Kazan. So make sure to give me that code, and we can hop into your account, take a quick look, and see. Ooh, excuse me, and see what's up. How good is Nahida C2 compared to Raiden C2? Great question, Ashley. Here's the thing, all right? Nahida C2 raises the DPS ceiling of your other on-field carries, right? That's Nahida C2. Raiden C2 raises the DPS ceiling by a large margin for herself. So if you, like, think about what do you value more right now? Do you value empowering your other on-field Dendro carries or like Electro, Hydro, whatever? Because Nahida empowers pretty much all Dendro DPS units, all of them, with her C2. In my opinion, she is more long-lasting in terms of C2 and more variety. You just can use her in more situations. You'll feel that C2 in more compositions. Because, like, it doesn't matter if you aggravate, if you spread, if you do like a hyper bloom, if you do burning, burgeon, like any of these Dendro reactions, if Nahida C2 is there, just extra free damage. Right? Like, that's it. In my opinion, that's like, I think Nahida has more value there. sorry again for the pings. I don't know why this thing got unmuted. it just unmuted itself. Okay. All right. What server are you on, my friend? Are you NA? Will Marcus be on voice chat for the account review if he wants to? I mean, I'm not against it. I would love for people to do account reviews, come in, introduce themselves, tell chat what kind of account they're building, right? Because it's much easier if you just come in and tell everybody, hey, this is who I am. I'm building an account for this X, Y, and Z. So everybody knows, okay, this person's like what? Are you a spender? How long have you been playing? It's much easier as opposed to me going in and trying to figure out what you're trying to do, right? And you can ask questions directly and I can give you my opinion. Okay. All right. They're saying they're down. So let's do a voice chat. Let's do a voice chat. Account reviews are nice when we do voice chats. All right. I'm hopping in voice chat with Cousin, or also known as Marcus. Hello, Marcus. Oh, I think Marcus is setting up. Marcus has been a long time viewer, so I'm actually curious. I'm pretty sure he's been playing Genshin for at least like what, a year and a half, if not what, 2 years. I'm sorry for the bright screen, people, but if I'm suffering here, I'm bringing you guys down with me. Before Marcus can even set up, I can probably tell you guys when he started playing the game, which is day 1, right? Pretty much. No, not a day 1. He started December 29th. So he started like 3 months after the game's release, which is like pretty much a day 1 player. Come on, guys. 3 months after the game's release, at this point, it's a day 1 player. Smart guy. He has Al-Haytham. I mean, Sino is great if you paired him with Nahida, but if you were to have to pick between these two, obviously now looking in retrospect, Nilu was the stronger character. Which let's not talk about that. There are no wrong decisions when polling for characters. You never go wrong with waifu over meta. So they have Hu Tao, they don't have Yelan. I'm imagining they're gonna pull for Yelan on her rerun. Let's just check the gem count. Just kidding, they're not polling for anything for the next 3 months. Actually, I'm curious what. Oh yeah, because they just pulled Al-Haytham, right? So yeah, they just pulled Al-Haytham. Oh. Okay, right here it is. So they are. Oh, they pulled like 11 pulls after. Did you get his weapon though?
Hello, Walrus, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. There he is.
Yep.
Marcus.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the late delay. I was trying to cook food here, playing games on the side.
No worries. I mean, we got you on here. I mean, it's been a long time. Like we've been trying to set this up for like what, 2 weeks now? A week at least.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks.
Yeah. I've been busy. Or you've been busy. Like,
yeah. But I'm glad I'm glad we were able to make it happen. And as I have seen already here,
I'm patient, so I'm chill.
Yeah, you're like pretty much a day 1 player. Like let's just.
I didn't even know.
I mean, right.
I took a break, but I didn't know.
Oh, you took a break. Okay, understandable. So can you kind of introduce your account for us so then we don't have to go in and dig through everything? What do you want us to focus on here? Right. And yeah, introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, hello. My name is Marcus. I'm like that one guy with the Capitano picture in the chat all the time. But yeah, you could say like Walrus says. I guess you could consider me a day 1 player, but I did take a long hiatus, so you could say I'm more of a 2.1 player. Because I literally started playing back in the game till Writing came, like her first rerun, her first run banner that is.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as reviews go, I kind of have a scatterbrain, you could say. I like to get everything. I was definitely at the honeymoon phase for sure when Writing came out. And I was just hyped about all the cool characters. That's why you notice I got a lot of Inazuma characters. So that my honeymoon phase started to wear out right at the end. I think Ito was probably the last character I was hyped for, and then if you notice, that's when I started to kind of slow down and not really care for much else after that.
I
Well,
mean,
of course, besides Ayato, I got Ayato, even his sword recently because I thought he was cool. And
all
I
things
guess what I'm looking
considered,
for, yeah.
all things considered, though, you dodged the biggest Inazuma bullet. I mean, I'm
Wow.
sorry, Yoimiya mains, but yeah,
Right?
like
He
in
only had the
retrospect,
one,
yeah, in
he's
retrospect,
usually considered a standard.
yeah, even Yaimiko was like a good character, right? Like nowadays,
Right,
but
eventually,
like
yeah.
yeah, but like Yoimiya's still kind of waiting on the side there, like Copium,
Like, right? I hope Fontaine is there.
yeah, Fontaine, right?
She's coming with the Hydra. Okay, we can always guarantee she's coming with the character we want.
Yeah,
That's how we know she's coming.
yeah,
It's so messed up.
I believe, I like, what's her name? Folklore is gonna fix Yoimiya for sure, like tailor made for Yoimiya.
Then after that, the Power Alkaline, she's got her pack. She's
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
the
yeah,
best
that's right.
support.
Yeah, best gonna be like off field like synchro attacks, like turn Yoimiya into an AOE character for sure. I see that. I see that.
And then cherry on top, you can't forget the milk comp. She's going to be like reverse milk Ganya,
Yeah,
except she's the one
like
applying power for the fire icon.
the Shiznaya way. I got you. I see it. Yeah.
So as you can see, that's why
we live 23 patches ahead of everyone else here.
Yep. That's how you play this game. If you're not 20 patches away, you're already behind.
That's right.
That's why I got my Eula at level 90. And that's why I got my.
Oh no!
Physical meta's coming, man. I just don't know when, but it's coming. Like I'm preparing for it. You already see Mika. We already got the rumors about did they do that next person?
Okay.
Giving us little Easter.
You're ready. I see.
Yep. I guess for the main point is, so we don't get too derailed here.
Yeah.
Is I'm looking for obviously I think you're right. Yolanda seems like a good choice for me, especially since I think the Animal was my favorite, and then Dendro came, so now like Hydro's like my favorite element now. But I definitely want more Animal and Hydro units. Period. Like those are the ones I want to be more consistent on. I kind of skipped Scaramouche because I was just looking at him like it's just a long distance hyper carry. It's like Zhao, but he instead of attacking you directly, he attacks you at a distance because he's very snobby. That's literally all it is.
Yep. Okay.
Man's gonna hate that, but it's true. Basically, I'm looking for the best way to scale vertically. I'm thinking of going either Raiden. I already got her C2. I'm thinking of like this going all the way with her scaling vertically. And maybe
this is as vertical as she goes, baby. Like that's like her growth spurt is over.
Like you don't need any more.
Yeah, like I mean, sure, she has a little more gas in the tank for C3, but I don't think that should be like a priority. Right, like exactly.
I was thinking, okay, here's how I play. I guess to help others get an idea of how I play. I hate thinking about rotations, and I thought Raiden was literally the perfect person to like just get your burst up as quick as possible. Even like I heard with her C6, like it helps reduce burst cooldowns. I thought that seems like a good investment, like every like rerun to go up, work towards, because I don't like thinking about that. I just like to fight, swap, and if I burst up, cool. I don't.
But like this is the thing that I've realized with Raiden C6 is that actually we're not able to maximize most units, like what's that called? Their burst cooldown is what I'm trying to say is their burst cooldown oftentimes comes back before we're able to cycle to them. Like there's very little situations where we cycle to, let's say, Yelan's burst, and it's like, oh, I got my Yelan's burst already, but like it's still ticking down on cooldown, right? It's pretty rare, especially for like if you have a play, let's say, Raiden national team with Jiangling, Bennett, and stuff like that.
I got something to say about that team, but I'll let you talk first.
You'll notice that when you go back to Jiangling, oftentimes you'll realize that, oh, I need more particles, as opposed to, oh, I wish her CD were to be ticked down already so I can start the burst cycle again. There are some characters for sure though that you could shave a couple seconds off of their burst, but those are so far and few in between, to the point where
like it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's difficult to like, for example, Zhongli's C6, like it turns him into a healer, right? Like that's very universal.
You don't need Coco, right? You don't need Kokomi no more.
Yeah. Essentially, he's just like, oh, like Kokomi, who's that, right? Like never heard of her. Yeah, it's just like But even Zhongli C6, I wouldn't even recommend it, right? Because
Okay.
the way towards his C6 is so like situational. Like the only case I think could be made for Zhongli is to have a more, because he's already a comfort unit, right? Like Zhongli. Even by meta perspective, people would say, "Oh, Zhongli is like a DPS loss," and and even then, recommending constellations for him is very difficult. People would say, "Oh, why would I need even C2, like C1, C4? Like I don't need any of this stuff, right? My Zhongli shield never breaks, so when I play him, I never take damage. Hence, why would I need to heal? Like these are the people's logic when when they look at this stuff." So when it comes to vertical progression though, right now Nahida C1 C2 seems to be amazing. Like it seems Hoyoverse
So that's better than going for Raiden C3 and C4.
Oh, for sure. Like
Okay.
you'll feel it so much more once you hit that Nahida C2, and like this constellation unlocks, all your Dendro based comps just gets a huge boost. I mean, not like a huge. Okay, the boost is not as big as and noticeable as Raiden, like from C1 to C2, for example. Granted, Raiden C1 actually helps us. Not a lot of people talk about Raiden C1. The fact that you gain more resolve from your electro characters,
resolve.
like people don't talk about this, is that you can one cycle max her resolve meter. Like the fact that people don't talk about that is like this is a perfect stepping stone constellation to even abuse how strong her C2 is. Before C1,
so you say it helps, it's like an amplifier. Just
yeah.
C1, C2. Gotcha.
Exactly. So like these two stepping stones are great, but you're not going to feel it as much as Raiden C1, C2. I can tell you that much, but they're going to be much more universal because Raiden, at the end of the day, she's still just like like she's mostly played as an on-field character, right? Like nowadays we have EM Raiden, so people don't get mad at me in chat. Yes, you can play her as an off-field presence.
Off-field. Because
right?
they're gonna say she's perfect. Look, I played her for like the whole year without it. In fact, speaking of Raiden, the national team, I'll be honest, I never chose it. One, because everyone used it, and if everyone used it, what's the fun in it? I think the fun is exploring, like you said, trying
different things.
I never, because everything people talked about how meta it was, it made me the opposite of excitement. I was like, okay, why pick something that everyone was doing?
That's what I realized.
Especially with Hoyoverse, they're gonna trivialize it. If you make something too popular, look at Morganacon. If you make it too popular, they're gonna ruin it. So there's even no point in like going for it. Like whatever is meta and trending, always go for a team you least expect, or don't tell everyone. Tell maybe your few friends, but if you spread it, Hoyoverse gonna get word of it, and they're just gonna nuke that meta to the ground. Like literally every time.
Look what happened to Venti. Like they literally busted the man's kneecaps. Dude's bedridden for the last 2 years. Yeah, I mean, so personally, if you were to vertically,
I don't even think I was really aiming for him. I just wanted him for those events where a bunch of mobs come in. I forgot what it's called. It's that one Arena Zuma event where you have to keep switching characters for every 2. He's perfect for that. Just pop it, move, swap. That was it.
Okay. I mean, I see you built Sino.
Oh yeah, speaking of him, like you said, he was literally the strongest dark skinned character in the game. I had to represent,
I see.
It's a shame.
It's a shame Hoyoverse did him kind of dirty.
Yep. But he's still cool. I'm looking for. I don't know about there, but I'm looking forward to what they bring to Fontaine and that one, especially. They gotta step their game.
Yeah,
I doubt we're gonna get any NPCs complexion of playable, but maybe close to it. Like if there's someone buffer, then I'll hype. Buffer, then I'll hype them. I'll take it. But you know what? That's good enough.
I don't know why Alhaitham just looks more like well built than even Ito. Even though I think it's just
he's an introvert. What sense does that make?
Dude, I think it's like it's the arm sleeves here, like the dark in color arms. Yeah, it tightens it. Yeah, and Ito's just kind of shown bare, so you kind of just see the noodle arms. I remember people said they have the same model. I remember people said that they have the same model. It's just man, the difference with a little bit of gear just makes him look a little more, pumped up.
Isn't he wearing basically he's wearing basically like a skin tight chest, like how girls wear, except he's wearing that one for men, like a skin tight shirt looking thing.
Yeah, like one of those Balenciaga models. Wait, we're thirsting a little too hard here. Wait a minute, I forgot I was even live. Woo! Anyways, let's look at a carry that, let's say, you're trying to focus on right now that you're building vertically. So now that
based on what I have.
we narrowed down on maybe Nahida Khans are best in value if you want to build upwards, right? In
vertically,
terms of spending. But
But
newer
as far as
characters.
teams, like if you check out my party, I have some hilarious names for them. If you go to the party setup, left to
Okay,
right,
let's
the
take a
last one
look.
is the best one. Oh, I mean, did I get off?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
So we got
Just making sure.
Devil Part Timer, Bleach. Wait, these are teams that you actually run, right? Like these are teams that you play.
Open world and events, yeah. Abyss now.
Okay.
Like maybe to maybe Abyss, maybe 11 at the most. Not like 12. 12 is impossible. I tried it.
Mm-mm.
Because like you get bored of playing the same stuff over and over, so I just said, you know what, why not just go over it?
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of different variants here. Oh my goodness, Venti, my guy, Attack on Titan. These
you see references?
Kind of.
I know I should probably trade Venti for Kazuo, but it just fits the theme. Mondstadt, the walls, like that whole
yeah. Naruto. Okay.
Sako got a glow up in this.
Chainsaw Man. Okay, let me figure this one out. Chainsaw Man, because I'm up to date in the anime, not the manga though. So I'm trying to see who is Nahida supposed to be in here. Don't Makima is Nahida? Really? I thought Sango no Miya would be Makima-san.
Well, we gotta remember how intelligent she is. I don't want to spoil anything, but she's pretty. That's the redhead, right? I'm actually getting it right. Power's the goofy one. Makima's the intelligent one. So if you think big brain, you'll see why I made her that character. Kokomi is more of the word girl that screams a lot. That's what I was. That whole thing.
Okay.
And then Zhongli is the cool guy, the one
that the one with the cone, the one with the fox. Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotcha. The smoker. Okay, we got who wants some of this? Oh, okay. Interesting teams. Let's see. One with vengeance. Oh, Bennett. Who is Bennett taking vengeance on? Fate. I see. First Inception. Mm-hmm. True. They do be having some of the drippiest
don't
bursts.
Leave interest on the card. Trying to end that stuff.
Transformers.
Okay. I try to think very intellectually. Except for the last one. The last one was just.
Oh, yes. Yes. If you changed, I wonder how different would it be if you changed Rosaria to like Shinha.
Right? Yeah. I'm thinking about getting her, but at the same time, I don't use her much. So it's like, is it worth?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Cryo was like, that was like my least used team.
Techie says, where's the One Piece references? There's no One Piece reference.
I ran out of slides. I thought about it, but I couldn't find the perfect characters. I'm waiting for a stretchy boy. I'm waiting for a character that uses their feet. I mean, Heizo is probably the closest one to Sanji, but I'm waiting for an actual genuine character that can stretch. I don't make it perfect since he's the most iconic looking one of the show. And
what about Dehya for amount of BS people are going to be stretching to try to make her relevant? Yeah, the mental gymnastics people be doing. That you got to be very flexible to bend.
Subreddit.
Yeah, yes. To bend that hard for a character. I mean, Dehya might just be the Luffy stand-in for now.
She got the complexion right. That's on point. Just give her a hat.
Hat. Yep.
She does believe in her friends. She's a great bodyguard though. Just like Luffy, he protects his people. Like,
yep. One with the wind, one with the sea of sand. Oh, it all connects now.
You would think at that point it would be Beto, Kazuha, Dehya. That's the One Piece team I'm thinking right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because the boat, right? The whole boat thing.
Yeah.
Who's that goofy robot character? That could be Sandrone's bodyguard. Like, that character's playable. And then the guy with an afro, there's no
Okay.
representation of that character. But I don't worry, I haven't forgot. I'm kind of waiting because yeah, I think could be Kakashi. That's a good one. Like there's plenty of references. It's just that I wanted to find the literal perfect like gameplay wise character to fit the One Piece crew, and I haven't thought of one yet.
I think okay. So to finalize here, I think definitely
Yeah,
hunt
yeah.
for Yalan. If you can, if you're not gonna break your bank getting her, I'd say getting a C0 Yalan is great. But like, it's not like your account needs it. Your account is so like, I mean, you have so many characters. You can build so many different team comps. You can develop into so many different metas here.
You notice I have one DPS for like every element, basically.
Yeah, like
that was my main.
yeah,
As long
like
as I have that, the Hoyoverse can't really throw anything at me that I can't beat
yeah.
if needed.
At this point, there's like, it doesn't matter if you want to play Electro Dendro, you want to play like Electro Charge, which let's be all honest, it's inferior to Dendro reactions, but you know,
Hyper Bloom,
yeah, Hyper Bloom, you're good.
Bloom, it literally destroyed out the water.
Yeah, you even have like hyper carry teams like Raiden Hyper Carry, you have Hu Tao. Obviously, if you want the best in slot Hu Tao team, getting Yelan would be great. And just
course,
like even not playing Yelan with Hu Tao, like this is a thing. I don't want to like FOMO people, but the fact that Fontaine is coming, I don't know what,
right?
like
it's very hinting. Yeah,
it's
right?
like
I think so.
building up strong hydro cores is going to be important, right? But also understand that likely you're going to be running double hydro with the hydro archon, so you're probably not going to run Ayato with Sangonomiya, and then you're probably going to choose one to pair with the hydro archon. And so far it seems, I honestly don't know. Believe it or not, I have no idea what the hell hydro archons do and what she's going to do.
Me neither.
Yeah, but like I can imagine that Yelan is going to be a much more difficult character to replace the pairing with, as opposed to like Kokomi and Ayato. I think there's going to be plenty of DPS oriented hydro units. There's going to be like likely a hydro, I don't know, hydro healer, maybe a pseudo healer, but just Yelan's role seems like it's very difficult for Hoyoverse to justify making anyone else in this role.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so
especially as a bow using all this, I'm thinking like
I was thinking the hydro archon was gonna be like something like Kokomi plus like a hydro buffer, and maybe open up the road in the future to like mono hydro teams. I don't know.
I was thinking right. Here's my idea for hydro archon. I was thinking that's when I think of looks, I think of obviously, the top hat English scope people. So I'm thinking if they had to represent anything for that culture, right? They like to very heavily inspire like a culmination of things. It would have to be someone that likes order and justice. Because even at the courtroom, it's about law and restriction. She doesn't like chaos. And that definitely makes me think she's going to have some control ability. I don't know if it's going to be the bubbles. They'd probably be more creative than that. Because look at what they did with the Nikita. I'll be honest, I was not expecting that huge dome. That was not it. So I'm thinking she's going to have the ability to control her enemies in an orderly fashion. Kind of like how Zhongli does his petrify. They're going to have to hype the Hydra Archon up. Because one, it's an old element. Like, why would you pull from that way that you have plenty of? They're going to give you a reason to pull for her, for sure. Just like how they did with Nahida and the other characters. Whether it's like open world, like easy, or easy on the enemies. It's always one or the other, if you notice. So that's what I think she's going to do. Have some way to control the enemy. I don't know if it's going to be like, help with freeze or what, but that's definitely my take on it.
The beauty of Hydro, like that I've always said, is that it spans so many reactions. So it doesn't, like, at this point.
Yeah, there's not a single element it doesn't work with, right?
Yeah.
Animal, Electro, Dendro. I mean, besides Geo, but I feel like they're going to fix that.
Geo has to be fixed. Like, if they leave Geo as it is right now, they're going to lose a lot of like market sales, right? Like, it's a whole element of characters. And also, they're going to run out of development room for a lot of these current meta units that Crystallizes has to, at some point, get fixed. Yeah.
Then after Crystallize physical, then after physical, whatever the hell they're going to do with Pyro, because I don't know.
Yeah, Pyro, they're probably keeping in their back pocket for Natlan. I've seen they're very reluctant to do anything with Pyro. Like, any new Pyro character since, like, Hu Tao has just, like, they've gotten worse and worse and worse and worse.
Besides Yoimiya, has there been? Right. Because I've noticed that. Yoimiya, I don't think they released a new Pyro unit besides what, Toma?
Toma, yeah. Toma.
What he's...
And then now
like,
it's
never had a focus-centric Pyro. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Deja's
But
coming
I
up
doubt,
next.
I doubt Day is going to be like a pyro heavy focus. Like, sure, she's pyro, but I don't think she's going to be like that new deep. You know,
Oh
she's
yeah,
not
for sure.
replacing Fruits.
She's gonna be.
Anything leeway, they got to be below leeway characters because leeway they want to be on top. You know,
Yeah, they're wheeling in Dehya on her deathbed on life support already, pretty much. Like
and they're
she's
saying
just
she's
getting
cute, right? You'll get.
yeah, she's getting transferred from one hospital to like another hospital at this. Dude, I'm so sad for Dehya right now that I'm like every night I just
Right. So
spend a
I just think
good 5 minutes praying to any deities out there that would hear my prayers. Just be like, please don't mess her up. Please don't do this to her. I don't like, even if they make her better in like 6 months' time, I don't want to sit through 6 months of agonizing copium just to make her work. It'll be fun to make videos for. Like, I can milk the crap out of, like, hey guys, like, let's be honest here. If Dehya comes out and she's doo-doo water, you know I'm gonna be making like 6 different videos talking about it. But it's just like, you know, I much rather her just be good, right? I'd much rather just be wrong. Can I just
even
get
decently level?
Yeah, can Hoyoverse just give me a huge slap in my face and just make Dehya
like I'll hype
good?
her basically. Like if she's like decent, I'll take that.
Yeah.
As long as she's better than the new standard, because Tainari was the new Dendro. So for Fontaine, they have to bring. I have a feeling they're going to bring a new Geo standard unit, and it's going to help maybe with crystallized. That's what I'm thinking. That's for like the new like because they haven't added a new Geo 5-star right to standard. So that's my best bet for that. They're not going to, like you said. I definitely don't think they're going to touch anything with Pyro for sure. They're going to keep that, like you said, in the back pocket, saving it for later. Because I haven't noticed them; they haven't brought any new like crazy comps, so they're definitely saving that. So I'll bet you the Hydro is going to be the next meta thing, especially with how good it is with Dendro.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I think you have a great account here, and
so there's no like issues, nothing I need to work on.
I mean, like, look, with how many characters you have, it's impossible to really have an issue. Like, because you probably have the luxury and freedom to build whatever. Oh, by the way, how much have you spent on this account? I think most people would like to know.
You can see the gems. I mean, not the gems. The what you call it, the shop Genesis. I can't say at the top of my head, but you could say
like a couple.
In Inazuma, like if I go by packs, right, like 2.1 all the way to like maybe 3.0, definitely over like $500 for sure.
Okay, so you spent around 500. Seems about right. Okay, so you're not like a free to play player for sure.
No, definitely.
Okay, I see. Well then, understandable. I think overall, for people who have spent money on the account, especially if you've diversified your account so much, like obviously, you've tried your best to kind of develop your account horizontally, right? And I would honestly would have started vertical progression a little sooner, but it's fine. Horizontal is really for people who don't care at all for the meta. You're okay. I mean, you're 36 starring the Abyss, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say like I have like consistently, but I probably could. If I, like, you know, it's just not. To me, it's never been.
I see.
Like, oh, sweet, I'm 36. Like, I'm one of those people who are like, I could beat it, but am I really gonna like try hard sweat just to get a few extra seconds off?
I see.
The way I see it is, as long as I can survive and defeat the enemy, and I have more fun having long battles, like instead of quick ones, like kind of like Kenpachi, right? I like enjoying the fight instead of looking at the timer. That's me. As long as I can survive, even if I'm down to like one hero and I beat it, it's like you know, like in Dark Souls, you finally get that last hit in the enemy. That feels much better than just beating it in 2 seconds. Because who wants to watch? It's like watching a game. Who wants to see a game that lasts for like a minute?
That's true.
Like what? You know?
Spoken like a true man, ladies in the chat. Marcus likes to take his time, right? He doesn't like to go fast. Just a little shout out there for you.
Speed runner.
Yeah. No speed running here, ladies. We we take it slow.
It's like I'll hype them. Perfect day to do nothing.
Okay. Yeah. So short term, definitely Yelan. I think that most people would give you that advice.
You know what's sad? I've been trying to get Cookie too. I never. Like even she was on China's banner, mind you. Look, like I got freaking C2 candies. I'm like, why couldn't that be one of them? Like I would have been happy. But it's all good. At least I know there ain't nothing wrong with my account. I thought I expressed myself too thin as in like I couldn't max it out. But if you said it's true, then I'm
like good. I would have said that you should really try to get Cookie if I didn't see you have like just all the 5 stars, you know. You can build so many
all the 5 stars except the super niche ones.
yeah, like you have
like I don't play that.
The fact you have Nahida already pretty much opened up your account to a lot of Dendro options to the point where you really don't absolutely need Cookie. And I see you also have Kokomi, so there are workarounds. You have Raiden, even as
Engine. So I got like
I got
like basically
you got so many to work with, and yeah, so it's just there's really no flaws to an account like this at this point. You can do whatever you want. You have all the freedom in the world to branch off into so many different directions, but some things I would advise you to do, which is like bolster down with Yelan, and then vertical wise scale with
perfect,
Nahida.
I like her, so that's a good pickup. I was looking for be like, man, I don't like this character, but I'll get her for the sake of. I genuinely think she. In fact, I tried to get her during her first rerun, but
she just dodged.
She just didn't come home. Yeah, I don't think she did. She does. No, it was more of because who came before her? I got whoever came before her, and then I tried to get Yelan, but then remember Kazuo was on the way. I didn't have him at the time, so I was like, it ain't. It's like who like at the time I was like, who would flesh out my account more? I think Kazuo because he can help with that shred that Yelan doesn't have, so that's why I had to sadly skip her at the time because I was guaranteed. And I'm like, and I only had enough for one at that time, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I'm glad that there ain't like no major issues I gotta get through. As long as I'm flexible, that's what I was worried about. So I'm cool.
I say you're probably gonna sit in the emblem domain for a little bit, but apart from that, yeah, that's it. Yeah, great account. Whew. Man, most free-to-plays would kill to have an account like this. That's for sure. Yeah, and then good luck on your Nahida pulls. Also, it also depends on when Nahida's making a rerun. I wouldn't prioritize Nahida cons over, let's say, like the Hydro Archon, for example, right? Like, but yeah,
she's good at
as long as she's as long as she's coming during her cons are coming back during a time when like you're not really pressed for any other characters. I would say.
Oh, you see Dory? He's like my least unit, which is a shame because it's like. Cool design, but man, they messed up her kid so bad.
Yeah, they made her kind of feel real awkward. Like, if you could trade Dory, all your Dory cons, if you have any.
I only got. I think.
If you can trade your Dory for a cookie, that would be amazing.
Right, that's what I wanted. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I know what's crazy. I think I got her on the stand. Like it was. I don't know. I don't think I got on the limit. I got on the most random. I was like, bro, are you serious? Like it could have been cookie, but whatever.
Yeah. Well then, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna be hopping off here, but thank you so much for hopping on, sharing the account, and being amazing. And I'll be seeing you in other streams, in future streams.
Got it. Yep, I'll definitely be there when I get the chance.
All right, let me just switch back to here. Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, I thought we were going to end early today, but holy smokes, we actually lasted so damn long.
Yeah, you started at like late 7:30, right? And it's 9:30 at least here in America.
Yeah, yep, 9:30. And I mean, Marcus, you've been here for a long time. Maybe you can do the sign off for everybody.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, stay safe, everyone. Love you and peace.
That's right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys Wednesday. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
And that was Marcus. Thank you, everybody. See you guys on Wednesday. Hope this live stream kind of cleared some things up. I know we didn't really consolidate anything or decide anything, but there you guys have it.